Deep linking is when someone shares a link with you and you tap the link and it opens your app at the right screen and it loads the right data. Or if you don't have the app installed yet, it will take you to the App Store so you can download it. Seems simple enough, right? It is, and I think this topic has been massively overcomplicated in the FlutterFlow community. Originally, the recommended way to do deep linking was using Firebase Dynamic Links. And actually the reason it was retired was because the native tooling for deep linking got so much easier to use. But as the replacement, the FlutterFlow team chose Branch.io as being the sort of unofficial replacement for Firebase Dynamic Links. And users immediately started reporting that Branch.io, the integration was clunky, it was confusing, and there is some talk of hidden cost surprises as well. And yeah, I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of trust in a SaaS company when I go to their pricing page and I don't see any prices. If you do need stuff like advanced analytics and link personalization, then yeah, you're gonna have to run the Branch.io gauntlet. But if you just want deep links and something that works, then here it is. I've written up all the steps in this video in an article on my website. Just follow the link in the description and you'll get all of the code that you need to copy and paste. Now the concept at play here is that I'm just going to follow the deep linking tutorial on the Flutter documentation itself. For iOS, this shows you how to implement something called universal links. And in Android, the equivalent is called app links. In this example, I'm going to be adding deep links to an application I have already here in FlutterFlow. It's called Flora. Now, a deep link, like any other link, is going to talk to the internet. So what we're going to do is set up a really mini website. Since I'm already using Firebase for auth and push notifications, it makes sense to also put this website on Firebase as well, using Firebase hosting. So we're going to pop open a terminal. And if you're not super comfortable yet with using terminals, don't forget the AI can teach you everything that you need to know. You can use tools like Claude Code or Codex, or just use ChatGPT in the browser to get the commands that you need. For Firebase hosting, I need the Firebase SDK. And so once that's installed, just make sure it's there by going Firebase version. Choose a folder where you'd like to place the website files. So I'm going to make a directory and I'll call it web. Change directory into the web, and then I'm going to go Firebase init. The only thing I need is hosting, so navigate down to this, press spacebar, and hit enter. I have an existing project, so I'll use that, hit enter, and then I'll accept the defaults for the rest. Now, if I open an editor, I'll see those website files inside of this web folder. And even though this is really simple, this is a website. All a website really needs is an index.html. I mean, for example, I could just throw some text into this file. And now that I have index.html, I can actually go ahead and go for Firebase deploy. And that's actually just going to deploy this website to the web as is. Firebase hosting gives me a .web.app domain. And you can hook up a custom domain, of course. So if I visit the link it gave me, there's my hello YouTube. Okay, next visit my article and copy the index.html file I've prepared here. Then replace all the boilerplate with it, and then you can just use an AI to customize what's in here for your particular application. I like to use Claude Code, but you can use any AI editor you want. Prompted to update the boilerplate. Okay, great. Now, the whole idea here is that for one thing, the deep link will have these meta tags, so it'll show up in social media sharing. But more than that, it can actually detect the right device from the client. So you would paste the App Store link in here, you'd paste the Google Play link in here, and if the user isn't on a mobile device, then the deep link just redirects them to whatever website you want, probably your landing page. So before you deploy this, make sure to add the links to your application in the app stores here. Now this next part is even more important than the index file. What you're going to do is you're going to create a folder and you're going to call it .well-known. Inside of this well-known folder, create a file called Apple App Site Association, and with no file name extension at all. Then create another file and call it assetlinks.json. And this time it does have a file name extension. It's going to be .json. Now head back to my article, copy the contents of Apple App Site Association and paste that into the file. And then do the same for asset links down here. You can also get this information from the Flutter documentation. That's where I got it from. Now you need two things. You need the bundle ID and you also need your team ID. You can get the bundle ID from FlutterFlow in app settings, app details, and here it is, the one that you assigned when you created the app. In asset links, I'll paste that under package name, and in app site association, I paste it here. It's team ID dot and then the bundle ID. You get your team ID here from membership details in your Apple developer account. So I paste in team ID, and then it's team ID dot, and then the bundle. Great, now I'll do Firebase deploy again. And just as I instructed it to do, if I now visit it, it's actually gonna redirect me to the homepage that I specified in index.html. But if I had opened this on a mobile device, it actually would have taken me to one of the app stores. Thing is, if I visit the URL /wellknown/assetlinks.json, then it's going to give me the configuration. Before moving on from this step, make sure that your configurations are available and that you can see them in a browser. Bear in mind, the SHA-256 fingerprints aren't done yet, but we're going to fill that out in a second. Now in the FlutterFlow project, I'm going to head to custom code, and I need to add a configuration, one for Android and one for iOS. The first for Android is in Android manifest.xml, and I'm going to add an activity tag. I'll just call this deep links. And again, I'll copy the code from my article. Paste it in here. And then under Android host, I'm going to paste in the root URL on my web pages that I just created. Note you don't need HTTPS, and you don't need to specify the path to the well-known folder. It already knows how to look for it. Hit save. And then I'll go for iOS and runner.entitlements. Here I'm going to add an entitlement, call it deep links again, copy the code from the article, and paste it in there. And again, I'm going to paste in the address from my web pages. This time it's under applinks:, and again, no need for HTTPS, and no need to specify any paths. Nice, save, and we're pretty close to done. One thing we're still missing is the SHA fingerprints. This is an Android thing, and I've got to go to the Play Store to pick one up. I go test and release, app integrity, and then I scroll down to find Play App Signing and go to settings. In here is the SHA-256 certificate fingerprint, so I'll copy that. This goes into asset links in this array field, and now we should be good for deployment. Thing is, I want to test this first. So in FlutterFlow, I'm going to hit the VS Code button, and I'm going to open the code base in VS Code. If you've never downloaded the code base before or never used VS Code, it's definitely worth investigating, but you can also use FlutterFlow Local Run in the desktop app. Either way, the goal is to get your app running either on a simulator or on a real device without having to go through the app stores. And I'll do that using FlutterFlow build apk-release. The build takes a few minutes, but when it's done, you should have a new APK file inside of the build directory. The next command is the keytool command. And if you don't have this one installed, you can use the AI to install it, but it goes like keytool-printcert-jar file. And you should find the APK in build, app, outputs, flutter APK, app release APK. Run that and you'll get the SHA-256 fingerprint. Now I just need to add that to assetlinks.json, then another Firebase deploy, and we'll be ready to test. There are various ways that you can run your FlutterFlow app locally. You can use FlutterFlow desktop, you can do it in the terminal or in VS Code with emulators. What I'm going to do here is actually to just physically plug in my Android device with USB to my machine. And when I do that, I can see it here in Flutter devices. That means that I can run Flutter Run and the app will open on my phone. These are the deep links I've set up, so when I tap on the first one, it will open the homepage of the application. As well as that, what I can do is I can actually pass data. And in this case, you'll notice that the root is plant detail. And plant detail needs to be written in just the way it's been written in FlutterFlow. As well as that, the page parameter in FlutterFlow needs to be specified as a query param. And then 58 is just the database ID in Supabase. So when I tap that, it'll actually take me to a specific plant entry within the app. The last thing is that if I close out of here, and I go ahead and delete the app, what will happen here is that tapping on the link will actually take me to the Play Store. And at this point, you'll want to test for iOS as well. What I like to do here is just send it off to test flight, but you can also test it in a simulator as well. And that's all there is to creating deep links with FlutterFlow. Hope that helped. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.